What if I told you that throughout history, one small nation faced enemies who were determined to completely wipe them out? Not just once, but over and over again. In the Bible, the nation of Israel was surrounded by powerful and dangerous enemies. Some attacked them suddenly in the wilderness when they were weak and exhausted. Others sent terrifying warriors onto the battlefield, giants so tall and strong that entire armies were too afraid to fight. Some enemies didn't even fight with swords. Instead, they tried something darker. They attempted to curse Israel and destroy them spiritually. And then there were the mighty empires. Kingdoms so powerful they crushed cities, burned temples, and carried entire nations into captivity. For a moment, it looked like Israel's story had finally come to an end. But somehow, it never did. Despite wars, invasions, betrayal, and exile, Israel survived every enemy that rose against it. How did this happen? Who were these powerful enemies? And what really happened in the battles that shaped the history of Israel? In this video, we will uncover the 5 greatest enemies of Israel in the Bible and the dramatic stories behind their conflicts. Some of these stories are famous, others are shocking. But all of them reveal a powerful chapter in biblical history. So before we begin, make sure you stay until the end, because the final enemy changed Israel's history forever. Throughout the Bible, the nation of Israel faced many enemies. Some attacked them in battle, others tried to destroy them completely. But these enemies were not random. Each one played a part in the long and dramatic story of Israel. To understand this story, we must begin in the Old Testament. The first major enemies of Israel appeared shortly after the Israelites left Egypt. These enemies were known as the Amalekites. According to the book of Exodus, the Amalekites attacked the Israelites while they were traveling through the wilderness. The attack was unexpected. The Israelites were tired and vulnerable. But during the battle, something remarkable happened. As long as Moses held his hands up in prayer, Israel began to win the battle. But whenever his arms grew tired and dropped, the Amalekites began to gain the advantage. So 2 men helped Moses hold his hands up until sunset. And by the end of the day, Israel defeated their enemy. Because of this attack, God declared that Israel would always remember the Amalekites as enemies. Another powerful enemy appeared later in Israel's history. These were the Philistines. The Philistines were strong warriors who lived along the Mediterranean coast. For many years, they fought against Israel. One of the most famous battles in the Bible happened during this conflict. The Philistine army had a giant warrior named Goliath. He stood over 9 feet tall and challenged the army of Israel every day. For 40 days, no soldier dared to fight him. Then a young shepherd arrived at the battlefield. His name was David. David was not a trained soldier, but he believed God would give him victory. With only a sling and a single stone, David stepped forward to face the giant. The stone struck Goliath on the forehead, and the giant fell to the ground. This victory shocked both armies and became one of the most famous stories in the Bible. But the Philistines were not the only enemies of Israel. Another group, known as the Moabites, also caused trouble for Israel. At one point, a Moabite king named Balak feared the growing power of Israel. Instead of attacking directly, he tried something different. He hired a prophet named Balaam to curse the Israelites. But every time Balaam tried to curse them, God turned the curse into a blessing. This story showed that Israel's enemies could not succeed if God was protecting his people. Another longtime enemy of Israel came from a family conflict. These were the Edomites. The Edomites were descendants of Esau, the brother of Jacob, who later became Israel. Although the two brothers eventually made peace, their descendants often remained enemies. Throughout history, the Edomites frequently opposed Israel. But perhaps the most dangerous enemies were the powerful empires that conquered Israel. One of these empires was the Babylonian Empire. In 586 BC, Babylon attacked Jerusalem. The city was destroyed, the temple was burned, and many Israelites were taken far away into captivity. This event became known as the Babylonian exile. It was one of the most painful moments in Israel's history. Yet even during this dark time, the prophets reminded the people that God would one day restore them. Years later, another empire rose to power. This empire ruled much of the ancient world. It was the Roman Empire. Under Roman rule, tensions grew in Jerusalem. Eventually, rebellion broke out. In the year 70 AD, Roman soldiers destroyed the temple in Jerusalem. After this event, the Jewish people were scattered across many lands. But something remarkable happened over the centuries. Despite wars, exile, and persecution, the people of Israel never disappeared. Their history, culture, and faith survived. For many believers, this survival is one of the most remarkable stories in history. It shows how the story of Israel continues far beyond the pages of the Bible. The enemies of Israel changed over time. Some were tribes, some were kingdoms, others were powerful empires. But the story of Israel continued through them all.
And today, many people still look back at these biblical stories to understand the past and the future. Because the Bible presents Israel not just as a nation, but as a people whose story has influenced the entire world.